Hello everyone, my name is Amar, and in today's live session we are going to look at some of the very basic concepts of Python, as well as we'll try to create our first program, that is Hello World. So first of all, we are going to need a place to run our Python programs for this session and the rest of the sessions. So if you are comfortable with installing Python in your machine, installing Python on your machine, you can download Python from www.python.org, python.org, and you can download it from here for Windows. If you are not comfortable with downloading or installing Python on your system, you can always go to some of the very popular Python interpreters online available. Say REPL.it is one of the most commonly used Python interpreter. We can also use the one available at python.org. So here we have to go and you have to just click on this button, launch interactive shell, and we'll get our Python shell where we can write our small chunks of code, and if we want to uh, create some programs, we can use REPL.it, select Python and create REPL. So first of all, we'll check the version of the Python that is being run over here. This is 3.8.2 and this is 3.8.0. So there is no major version mismatch in any of them. You can just go over any of them, choose any of them, and we can continue for programming. Now when we do the programming, there are two parts of any programming language, or we can say any language that is spoken in the world as well. The first part is syntax and the second part is semantics. So let me open Notepad. Syntax is the rules in which a language is uh, written or spoken, and semantics, just one second. Semantics means the meaning of the written or spoken, uh, whatsoever we can say, the written or spoken communication, right? So these are the two parts. So syntax, make sure that you are going with a right way to approach, and semantics, make sure that whatever you are speaking or whatever you are writing, it makes some meaning, right? So the first program, that is hello world, we are going to just print hello world. So for printing we will use print, then we will open round brackets, then we will open double quotes, Then we will write hello comma space world exclamation mark. Please make sure that the double quotes are again after the exclamation mark, that is closing double quote, and then we will close the round bracket, and when we will click on run, it will print hello world. So this is the very first program. Now uh, Python is a programming language. So programming languages does not understand the mean of hello world, but uh, what Python understands is print. So if I give anything to print, Python will print it. So for printing anything, I'll have to type print, then I'll have to open round brackets and close them. In between these round brackets, whatever you will type, Python is going to print it. Just for say, let's print 100. Will Python print it? Let's see. Yeah, we got the output 100 over here. It means that Python printed whatever we wrote inside these round brackets. But there is a difference between using numbers to print and using text or strings or a set of characters to print. So we'll go over them one by one. So if we talk about numbers, so if we go around numbers, so any number in this language can be written without quotes. Okay, so okay, let's not get confused. First start with strings. So what are strings? Strings are nothing but a set of characters. Okay, but the set of characters confined within a pair of either single quotes or double quotes. If you can, if you want to ask me any question, you can drop your question on chat. I am watching the chat. So okay, set of characters, and if we want to, okay, welcome Mohit. And if we want to use numbers, numbers are of two types. First is integers that are from minus infinity to plus infinity, but complete ones like 1 or 1 is an integer, for example 2 is an integer, 3 is an integer, 4 is an integer, 8 is an integer, 100324 is an integer. And second type of numbers are float. So floats are again minus infinity to plus infinity, but there is a catch. These numbers are fractional numbers, we can say. 1.6 is a float, 9.8 is a float, and surprisingly 4 is an integer, but 4.0 is a float. But what happens when I write numbers inside a pair of quotes? Want to see? Let's go. So here we have written the number outside of quotes. Now I am going to uh, put the number inside the quotes. That's 100, right? Inside double quotes. Here the starting double quote and here is the ending double quote. And when we'll click run, it will again give me 100. But what is the difference that we have got? To check the difference, we will use the type function. Check the difference using type function. So what are functions and what is the type function? We'll cover it later in detail. For now, we can say that functions are uh, a way to perform some task in Python. Functions are the ones who perform some tasks, and variables are the ones who hold some value. So variables we are not going to discuss right now. Functions we are using them. Functions like there is this print function. Print function is used to perform the task of printing the output of whatever you provide to it, right? So let's say print we are going to use type. So type function, what does type function do? Type function provides you, let's not go over here, rather go over here, type function. And when I will type when I'll ask for the type of 100, it will tell me that it is of class int. Class int means integer. When I'll uh, type of 110.5, let's say, it will tell me that it is a float. And when I'll go for or question that numbers inside a pair of quotes, what does it mean? So inside a pair of quotes I have put 100, and oh, Python says that it is a string. So this should be clear by now, I think. And now we will move to our next topic, which is using Python as a calculator. So till now we were able to print things like we knew that if we print 2, if we put the statement print 2, it will give us the output 2. But what if we want to print 2 multiplied by 98? So we just have to put the multiply sign, that is asterisk, between 2 and 98, and we just have to tell it to run the program, and we'll see that the output is 2 multiplied by 98, that is 196. If we want to check it using calculator, we can, that is 196. Perfect. So 2 into 98 is 196. But what will happen if I convert multiplication we have done right now, number to number? But what if I want to do this thing, what will be the output of this thing? So this is a string ACD, and printing 2 multiplied by ACD will provide me 2 times of this string ACD and then again ACD. So these are the very basic fundamentals which we are talking about. Till now we have covered strings, what are the basics of strings, what are numbers, how strings are different from numbers, like the change using number inside of pair of quotes. 100, it is a string. 100, it is an integer. And what is the difference that they both make, right? So say, and it all depends upon the type of operation that we want to carry out. If I want to add 100 and 101 and they both are integer, then it will be then Python will be able to give me the answer. But when I put this 100 inside double quotes, Python will not be able to get me the answer. And what is the error being given to me? The type error says that can only concatenate string, not integer to string, right? So here this is a string, and when I use plus next to a string, Python expects that I will be adding uh, one more string over there only, not a number, right? So when I say 100 in quotes plus 101 in quotes, Python will give me 100101 instead of when I put both outside of quotes, Python will give me 201 over there, right? So now uh, till now we have covered integer, what are integers, what are floats, what are strings, and what does it mean to be a number inside a pair of quotes or outside a pair of quotes. And we have also done multiplication. So now uh, this is a computer program. If this is going to be a computer program, it is definitely not going to take only one command, right? So print is just one function and one line of code, and it is one line of code. But we definitely know that for various purposes, programs are usually more than just one line of code. They are multiple lines of code, and how we are going to differentiate one line from another? Simply in Python, we just have to press enter, and in next line whatever we will write, it is the second line of code. So these both lines will be different for each other in Python, and this is your first line of code and this is your second line of code. In C, C++ or Java or various different languages, we use semicolon to terminate our statement, but in Python we don't need to do that. So it is one line of code, it is the second line of code, it is one line of code, and both the statements got executed one by one. So this is uh, what we understood by different lines of code. Now if we talk about, say, variables, variables if we talk about variables, variables are the places which store some value inside your computer's memory. So for using variables, we have to define a variable name, and we just have to use an equal sign to assign some value to it. Now I have defined a variable which is name, and what do I want to keep the value of it? Say I want to keep the value Himanshu. So now whenever I will talk about name, the computer will understand that okay, I am talking about Himanshu. Inside the scope of this program only, the computer will always understand that I am talking about Himanshu. So if I go ahead and ask the program to print name, the program is going to print Himanshu because Himanshu is the value that I have stored inside name. Now the noticeable thing is that if we use double quotes before and after name, the computer is going to print the name itself, right? Confusing? Not anymore. So if we are going to use double quotes, and inside these double quotes if we have written name, the computer will think that okay, he is talking about the literal word name. And if we do not use the quotes, then computer will go and search that okay, if I do have a variable or a place like place named by name, and yeah, the computer found it because we have defined it. So we have defined the value of name as Himanshu. So computer goes over there and computer checks what is the value of name. Has name ever been defined in this program? And it checks and it says yes, the name has been defined and it contains the value of Himanshu. So here we go. But what if we try to print or try to ask something from computer which is not defined, which has not been defined yet? Like we have written print friend and we want to print friend. Now when I'll go over there, so name and Himanshu both got printed properly because these statements were correct. But when computer came to this line, when the program's execution came to this line, it says that name friend is not defined. So what we will have to do, we will have to define the friend. Now friend, we can say yes or no. Himanshu is a friend of mine, so yes or no. So we are trying to say yes. So there might be anything, it does not make any sense actually. Name, here the first print statement name, the second print statement which refers to the variable name which has the value of Himanshu, it got printed. And third third print statement, which is the fifth line of our code, which says print friend, and friend is we have written here yes. We can write anything else as well, like Amar, we can write here Amar and it will print Amar. So it does not imply that we have to write a certain thing over there. We can write 1 2 3 over there, and it is outside of quotes, it is an integer, but the program is going to print 1 2 3 because we have provided a value of 1 2 3 to friend. So now we have also learned about variables, how to assign value to variables, right, and how to use them. Now we are going to do a very basic uh, program. We are going to add two numbers. So first number is, let's say, 5, and second number is, let's say, 10, and we want to add both of them. So total equals to first num plus second num, and what will we do then? The first line of code will assign the value of 5 to first number, and second line of code will assign the value of 10 to second number. Now we have written that total is first number plus second number. So it means that total will be equals to 5 plus 10. This is going to be rough work. This is not going to be a programs line. This is going to be a rough work. What I want to show you what is going on over here. So 5 plus 10. So total will be 15. And when but this program is not going to print the total because we have not told it to do it. So when we will tell the program to print total, it will print the total. So see, 15. So this is the uh, one way to do this kind of thing. But in usual cases we do not get these type of requests. When we are creating a calculator, we expect users to give input, and we operate on the basis of these inputs, right? So what we will do in today's very basic and last program, we are going to mm, make a calculator which will give you the sum of two numbers. So welcome to the calculator, or let's say we'll call it editor. Welcome to the editor. And what does it do? You will now be requested for two numbers, the sum of which you do want. So first number, usually we used to assign the value of this first number before, but now that we want input, we want the user to give input, we'll ask the user for input like this, input, and inside round brackets we will create our prompt. So the prompt will be enter the first number. This is going to be a message which the user will see, and when the user will see this message, he or she will come to know that okay, I have to insert the first number, enter the first number. Ouch. Okay, enter the first number and press enter. Similarly, and for second number, print the sum is. Now this program is going to have too many of errors. I am going to tell you right now because I have created this program in this way only. So okay, total, but uh, total we have to define, right? So what will be the total? Total equals to first num plus second num, right? So what are going to be the errors? Can you think of them? I think not, but let me tell you one thing. If let me give you this hint only, that if you write 15 and 30 as your first number and second number, your expected output should be 45, but you will get 1530, right? See, now welcome to the editor. You will now be requested for two numbers, the sum of which you do want. Enter the first number and press enter. First number I am entering 15. Enter the second number and press enter. Second number I am entering 30. Now the total we expect is 45, but we are going to have 1530. Okay. There is this space. So why we are getting 1530? So let's see what happened. We will try to troubleshoot it from here only. Print the type of first num, print the type of second num, and you are going to know this very soon. 1428. So both the type of first number and type of second number is string, and we recently saw that when we go for adding strings, it will just give us the first string followed by second string only. So when we gave first number 14 and second number 28, it just went and it handled them like this only. 14 plus 28 total is equals to 1428. So this is again the rough work. So what do we have to do to convert our first number and second number in integers? It's a very simple function. So we will create the total of integer of first number plus integer of second number, and again we are expecting some kind of error, and yes, we got the error. Can only concatenate a string, not integer to string. Why this is happening now? Because total is now an integer, because it is the sum of two integer numbers, which is expected to be an integer. So total will be, again we are doing rough work, 15 plus 30, total will be equals to 45. Sorry, 45. 45 is now an integer. So what can we do to print this total over here? We can again convert this total to a string, and when we'll do it, we'll enter our first number 15, second number 30, and the sum is 45. So this is all about today's session. We talked about strings, the very basics of the strings, numbers, what are integers and floats, and how do we differentiate strings from integers. Multiplications, we saw what happens when we multiply number to number, and what happens when we uh, multiply a number to a string. And variables, we came to know, and we also came to know inputs how to take input from user, including prompts, and we created a calculator. We converted string to numbers, or to be more precise, say integer, and integer to a string. And I think that is all for the day. Thank you so much for being here. Your comments are requested. You can give your suggestions via comments, and you can also contact me at amardargad@gmail.com. Thank you.